G'day, 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 Mathematical KM. Remember their initials, not a title. Keith Malumbi. Weighing in at 1457 in the top 1700 players in Australia. Playing uphill against Bill Sargent, who's in the top 400 players in Australia. Go Bill. Weighing in at 1818. So, going to be quite the game. And let's see how we go. Letting a water horse out against one of the top 400. So here we go. So far we'll go till it's something a bit different from this first standard 10 moves. And now we've got to think. Haven't got the fianchetto or the final pawn move. Not there, not taking itself. They're the last two standard hippo moves, but he's pushed forward with that e-pawn. And you might say that we've castled a little early as well. He has as well. I've been castling a little bit too late lately, so I've thrown it in early. We'll see how that goes. Best move now is bishop to b2, which is ignoring the pawn and letting him make the decision there. Which, thinking about it, kind of is in Solomon's course because the queen can look after the two pawns that one does. That one protects those two. The queen indirectly does that, so I could leave it and let him take me. Taking it is 0, but I've done a fairly hippo-ish move, and yes, it defeats the point of fianchettoing this bishop to an extent, but locking it up in the middle. He's bringing a knight around. He wants to attack me on the king side where my king is, so his queenside knight's coming. I can feel the pressure of that bishop, so I'd like to get rid of that bishop. And I think you can see that a4 is actually the top move played, and I'm thinking bishop here, let's get rid of it. He's made it a battering ram, so that's currently a bad mistake, and you'll see that knight to b1, which supports the bishop move, is my top move. So played. He develops his other bishop, but now I can go bishop a3. It's the second best move there. Played. He's throwing h5 down at my king. This is one of the active attackers, so I would have thought that let's just take it off the board now, and it is the top move. So played. Takes back with his queen. Still lining up on that pawn, you know, the queen's being useful. I thought, this pawn is protected by the queen and the knight, but bringing my knight towards the action and starting a little bit of pressure on that d pawn. He's bringing his knights to try and mount some sort of an attack. Now my next move, it's actually not the real target, but you can see that I've now got two knights attacking that pawn. The sneakier thing is knight and queen attacking this pawn that currently only has a knight guarding it. So in the absence of anything else happening, I'll be taking that with my knight. So what does Bill do? He saw that I had that sneaky little plan, and he is, no you don't. Now here I had a little bit of a think, and this is move, 17? I still had an hour on the clock and Bill was at 46 minutes, so he obviously hasn't thought about or faced the hippo very much. But I have a distinct choice between this and this. And the way I see it is if I take with the e-pawn, that lets his e-pawn go, which is backed up by a rook, currently protected by a knight and a bishop. I just don't like it. If I take with the g-pawn, that's still blockaded. That would be a beautiful outpost. And the queen's diagonal is cut off. And I think you can see it's -1 for g takes and -2 for e takes. Best move played. Okay, the queen has backed up, forming a battering ram on that g-pawn. And this is just a standard hippo player's move for when that battering ram forms. And it's the top move, king to h2, played. He's moved his queen back again. And I'm thinking, rook c1, interesting. The computer wants me to start pushing on the queen side. It's probably not a bad plan. Yay, Stockfish. But I'm seeing same plan again, different knight. It's a fairly closed situation. And regardless of whether I actually get this plan to work or not, short range piece needs to be coming to where the action is. So it's given as a mistake. And he's got, and didn't see it, but knight g4 check right now with h takes g4. So sacking the knight for an attack is the go for black right now. I can't get my knight over there soon enough. So he's missed that. And I've played the best move, and now my knight has teleported across the board and reinvigorated the threat on the h-pawn. Failing that, get rid of that bishop. Now, it's a move too late, really. Knight g4 check was the go before I got my knight over here. Now, it's quite interesting. Sometimes to take is a mistake. Because I've been thinking about this. If I take, queen comes in with quite a nice, nasty check, and it goes from there. But if I don't take, and I think you'll see it's actually the top move with king here, then that becomes much more appealing with no queen move, no queen infiltration check or anything like that. So that's best. It's still an edge to white here. And that was a great move, because prior to making it, the knight is being threatened, and the bishop currently is hanging as well, also being threatened. So that does guard the bishop and move the knight out of harm's way. But queen by h5 is the best move. We've caught that h-pawn. That was excellent. c4, I'm going to regret not playing that earlier sometime soon. c4 was best. Okay, bishop to b6 was a mistake. Rook to f6. Protecting it was better. My eyes have lit up a little bit at seeing the pawn fork idea, obviously not letting him take my queen, and also he's got a knight protecting it, but I've got a knight protecting that pawn as well. No, there's stuff in the position for white. It's 1.4 to white. Best move here is queen to g5. That queen's still a threatening infiltrate. I'd prefer to have those queens off of the board. And you'll see the top move is queen to g5, offering and played. Rook to f6 is best, but he has moved his king forward. And now taking the ladies off, top move, played. Now if we can end, he's got the wrong bishop for attacking my pawns. I'd like to leave those bishops on. Knights can attack any and everything. I'd like to kill his knight, leave him with that bishop, and leave me with the bishop that can attack his pawns. So, plus 1.7 a white. I'm playing 260 elo points uphill here. But so far, so good. Now, that's a mistake. c4, I should have started the queenside pawn stall. Ah, well. What I was thinking is protect that pawn and this pawn from here. Play this pawn forward. If he takes, then his bishop can't grab that because the rook's protecting it. And I take his pawn with my bishop, and I'm starting to then maybe roll forwards a little bit. Let's see how it all goes. No plan survives contact with the enemy. Like I said, I'd like us both to keep the bishops and nothing else. I'd like all the rooks off and both knights off. And the best move for me is getting the knights off here. So played. Was the top move before computer. He takes. So now it's the bishops and the rooks. He might have actually a little bit less trouble. Oh, c4 was best. Should have tried to push those pawns and get that advantage through them. Oh well. It's both in front of the king and it's protecting my c pawn, so I can make that play of the plan that I told you guys. He got himself 2 pieces on that pawn. King h2 is excellent. f3 was best. Wow. Not much in it. But if I'd played f3, he could have taken... Oh, not to worry. Computer knows best. Trying to double his rooks there. So as soon as his king's out of the way, he will have 3 pieces on my h-pawn, which I'm not going to be able to compete with. c4 is still best. But I played my planned attack and it was a mistake, and his best move is take, which he does not play. So I take him. He takes me. Trying to get the rooks potentially in front of my king is what I'm thinking. So that pawn forward was the mistake, and the edge has gone to black. And again, to take is a mistake. It's definitely the case here. If I did take, he'd be able to take back. I'd be in check. I couldn't block with my rooks. At the moment, I'm thinking I've got the potential to get a this passed pawn passed. So let's try and kill all the pieces off. So I've moved the king back, which is best. f5 is a mistake. Bishop to g4. Making me move that rook. It wouldn't have to go far. But anyways, you can see what he's thinking. He's protecting that pawn. The bishop can't take it. But I thought, and it's a great move, we take. He takes. Because of the king, I've got 2 protectors. Let's try and get rid of these pieces. Okay, he's given me a check. Slight mistake here. Here's a lesson to be learnt. That's the best move. And I guess if he was to keep going, we'd have a draw right here, right now. Because he can't just bring the other one in. But I've gone, it's an inaccuracy, so it's still less than a pawn, but edge to black. Now that was a mistake, in as much as it's a great move, edge now to white, because he separated that pawn and made it weaker, potentially. Let's see how many mistakes are made and how we go with this. Now rook to g2 is best because it pins that rook to the king. And right here, if I wasn't playing one of the top 400 in Australia, a lot of people with the black pieces would take, and I was kind of hoping for it, was him to take my rook. I take back with the king, and then my king is a little bit closer than his, and I think maybe I can get through there, and if not there, then here. But the best move is far and away not rook takes rook, but rook to g4. Everything else much worse. And he's played it. Now I was thinking, the closer I can get my king when this exchange happens, if it's going to happen, the better. So I have moved my king to h2. It's 0.2, but more than twice as good is b4 is starting to get my pawns motoring while that's static. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn't. Okay, endgame stuff. Okay, so I've moved the king. He's moved his king. The pin no longer exists. I've moved my king because even though the pin doesn't exist, he's too good a player not to do this. But if he only keeps, if he doesn't play h5, so it's 0, then 2.24. Only the one move, and that's h5. If he does anything else, I can take the rook, he takes back, I win, and a very important pawn with my king, and that would be basically game to white. So I'm affording opportunities for my opponent to let me win, but he's not taking them. So yeah, it was the only move. h5 is a great move. Funny that b4, a5, c4, dealing with my pawns is the way to go, ignoring the rooks, but I'm thinking, let's get rid of them. And the funny thing is, I can't get to the f pawn without letting the g pawn off to the races. So my king is kind of tied here. So the question becomes, can these 4 pawns, or to a point that pawn's important as well because it's protecting that one, can these 5 pawns keep these 3 pawns and that king out? We'll see. Okay, it's given his best. Now my pawns, king can't come through. If the pawn comes, I take it, and then I can come and get this one. I win. If that pawn comes forward, white wins. Just by way of +5 or more. Yep, that would basically game over to white, and Bill is not going to play that. No, instead he's sending his king over. My king is, I don't think, in for the whole rest of the game, my king's getting his steps in. He's tied here. So it's on. Okay, Bill, there's the stone. Well, it's not a stone wall, but it's like a giant stone wall from Game of Thrones, perhaps. But can Bill break through? He's got all the turns he wants, as long as he doesn't go... Very interesting. I mean, it's to take is a mistake. If I take, pick a pawn. Huh. I thought that would be all over if I took. It's getting very sharp. Anything except C takes. King takes. Surely. My king can't leave. Oh, he's off to the races. And it ends up being a draw. But a sharp, dynamic draw. Not a solid, you can look at it and see it's a draw. But, let's have a 2-second look at this one. Can the king... Can't quite get... And again, the king's going to take this. This one's going to head this way. That one's going to head through there. It's 0.00. Again, a sharp, dynamic draw. That's a little bit beyond my calculating. However, I can build a wall. And the way I see it, if he takes either... If he takes a pawn, you can see b times c4 is 0. But it's a different looking draw. Just the king can't get in. If the pawn came forward, this pawn would come forward. And the king just couldn't get in. You keep on a knocking, but you can't get in. It's a solid, non-dynamic, it's a wall draw. So taking doesn't work. Pushing forward, who cares? And that one will be covered, is just still the wall draw. So at this point, the draw was offered by Bill, and I accepted. The one last thing, we're looking at so many draws. At this point, it's quite interesting. And I thought, when I was going through the review, what did both of us miss? Was this a winning endgame for black? But let's just jump to here. And it's still... Oh, d5 is a mistake. Yeah, I wouldn't have played it. For a while there... Ah, this is interesting. There was a path through on this side, perhaps. bears looking at later. What are you going to tell us? King F7 is best. I'm not quite convinced. Looks like he could try coming around there. And then he plays King F6. With best moves being played by both of us. Is this opposition at some great distance, and is it basically I've got to maintain that so that I can stop him coming through there? That's one for Solomon and taking a look at his chess, of course. But, well, yeah, a draw against a top 400 18-18 player and the Great Wall of Keith. The video just named itself. There you go, and I'll see you guys after the Thursday game. So that was a fun one. Bye for now.